Today, FM 53102 to get in contact. It's all about the dreams. Mr. Paul Gill joins me in studio, dream analyst, psychotherapist, and of course, author of the definitive book of dreams. And we ask you to send us your sex, all the details or images that you have from your dream, and of course, your age as well, so we can give you a proper indication. Sean's got in contact. He said, I had a strange dream where I'm in a pub that I used to frequent 30 years ago. The pub no longer exists, and my brother, who's now dead, is there. I want to buy him a pint. At the bar, I meet a guy that I used to live beside. He wants to buy me a pint, but I don't really want to talk to him, and when I turn around, my brother has already paid for the drinks, and I'm annoyed that I allowed myself to be distracted. Now I'm standing on a hill near where I used to live, and I see an extraordinary looking plane in the sky. I struggle to get my camera out and take the phone out and get a photo taken of it, and when I do, I have the camera backways and I end up taking a photo of my own eye. Now the plane is plunging to the ground, tail end first, and I know that it's the end for the two pilots. But I realise it's all a dream, and there's no point in rushing over to see if I can save anybody. I wonder if I can undo the dream. That's an interesting and strange dream.
There's a lot of used to in that. First of all, he's in a pub where he used to frequent 30 years ago. His brother, who's now passed on, is there as well. So if you kind of take it goes back to what the dreamer was doing 30 years ago, and maybe it's a kind of a certain juncture in his life. So he wants to buy his brother a pint, and he's distracted by this guy that he used to live beside. So he's got distracted, he's got sidetracked in his life somewhere along the line.
It's almost like a Robert Frost poem. He's ended up taking the road less travelled by, and he's wondering should he have went the other way.
Yeah. So there's regrets here. There's probably regret over his brother's passing as well. Then he happens to be on a hill looking at this extraordinary plane, and he tries to get a picture of that. He seems to be missing out on a lot, this guy. He misses out on 30 years ago. He misses out on taking a snapshot of the plane because he takes a snapshot of his eye, and in a way that can be seen as being introspective, looking inwards into himself. And then the plane spiralling to the ground, he says tail first, like there's no hope. I wonder how he knows that there's two pilots in it, but he seems to think there's no point in going over trying to do anything, that he can't kind of salvage anything from this situation. So I think it's probably about regrets from the past. Did he take the right course of action? If he could go back again, would he redo it all again? That's what he's asking at the end. Could I have caused this to turn out differently?
Interesting, very interesting. Jer's 25 and he's in Swords. He says, I have a dream where I'm aware that I'm dreaming. I'm walking down a field with a duvet wrapped around me. I see two black calves running around the place, and I know that they've been spooked by something. Just then a massive black bull comes charging after them. I don't know, but I know that I must get out there in case he sees me. I jump into a blackthorn hedge and barbed wire. I somehow think that the duvet will protect me. It does. I'm lying on the ground inside this fence, and the bull comes in. He can't see me if I do not move, and after a moment he charges down along a corridor. I know that he will be back and that I should get up and climb up a tree to safety. But remarkably, I feel too lazy to move. That's from Jer. Now, this is interesting because when I was younger, I used to always have this thing about if you hide under the duvet, the boogeyman won't get you from the duvet. So go on, tell us, what do you reckon here?
Well, there's a kind of a lackadaisical attitude to this dreamer, as if he just couldn't be bothered moving. He's just too lazy to do anything. So he starts off in a dream where he knows he's in a dream. That can be a very empowering situation where you know you're in a dream, because you can have the outcome, you can dictate what the outcome is. So he sees two things, two black calves. There's a couple of black elements in this, and it depends what black means to the dreamer. It could be dark, could be sinister, it could be any number of things. But he sees two things that should cause alarm bells to ring in his head. What's spooking these two calves? And he doesn't do anything then. And then he sees the black bull, and he thinks, okay, right, I need to do something to get out of here in case the black bull gets me. And he jumps in through this blackthorn hedge thinking that the duvet will protect him. So he finds himself like lying in a position where he's still not out of danger, but he just feels, I'm too complacent to move. I should really get out here and do something. And he gets away out of that situation because the bull kind of goes off, but he knows it's going to come back again. So I think the dreamer knows that there's a lot of stuff that he should just get up off his backside and do, but he's not doing. He's been too complacent, and he's on the edge really, because he's in a little bit of a predicament, a danger. So maybe as regards his work life, perhaps he should be doing some stuff that if he doesn't do, there's going to be consequences.
Okay, we'll take one more. This comes in from Joe's and Leash. Hi lads, a regular dream that I can fly. Sometimes I have to flap my arms, whilst other times I have just hold them straight out on my sides. At first I'm nervous that I might climb too high, and then I will suddenly lose the ability to fly and fall back to the earth. But after a while I experiment at flying through archways and under bridges. But more often than not, the dream always ends the same way. I see somebody I know and land beside them, and I think that they will be impressed, but they don't seem to give me the credit for what I've been able to do by flying. When I tell them all about it, and they stare at me as if I'm mad. When I go to take off again, I can't do it and I feel deflated. That's from Joe.
Well, That's interesting. Many people have flying dreams, and Joe has this experience where he's a bit nervous about flying at the start because he's wondering, will this ability last? Will I crash down to ground? I think that's about, probably again in maybe work or a school situation. We don't know where exactly Joe is in life at the moment, but he wants to soar above the ordinary. He wants to excel. He wants to be magnificent, wants to be brilliant.
And we had a dream similar to this a few weeks back, and I believe you said at the time, you said it's almost like the person is persevering as much as they can, but they're not getting credit for the work.
And he says that almost in the dream, like when he soars out, he flies under bridges, under archways, he's experimenting as what he can do, but then when he lands beside his friend and he thinks his friend should be very impressed, he gets no credit. So I would say that he doesn't feel that he's getting credit in his life at all for what he does. He's an exceptional person and he needs not to be afraid to fly.
Okay, well, park it at that for this week. Paul Gill, thank you so much.